The problem of deepfake and the misuse of artificial intelligence is a major issue. Fake revenge porn, fake political campaigns, governments across the world have taken note of this issue as they huddle to frame the right policies. Are the laws equipped to deal with the ever-growing challenge that technology's misuse portrays? Are there any gaps that exist? Let's begin from where it all started. Around 2 billion people will vote in democratic elections around the world in 2024. With over 60 countries conducting elections in the current year, the problem of deepfake and the misuse of artificial intelligence is a major issue. Governments across the world, including India, have taken note of this issue as they huddle to frame the right policies. Deepfakes, they could just be an image, a video, or any visual misrepresentation of an individual, of an object, or even an organization. It could be distorted or granularly modified so as to portray a completely different perception. Deepfakes can be modified to an extent that existing digital content such as videos could actually be portrayed in a completely different form. Or even better, deepfakes need not necessarily be negative. They could actually be positive images. That is, they could be original content themselves. Original deepfakes seems to be an oxymoron, but it does exist. It is a positive digital tool to educate and empower. Deepfakes need not necessarily, as I said, be bad and could be necessarily not create malicious processes. When we discuss deepfakes, we are at first blush moved to think in the negative. Our perceptions, unfortunately, are influenced by deepfakes, often surfacing on social media as inappropriated or morphed images of famous personalities or celebrities. Generally, deepfakes are considered to be material created to manipulate public opinion or run twisted political campaigns. However, artificial intelligence and deepfakes in particular are also used for extraordinary positive results. For example, translating videos of famous personalities into multiple languages at a fraction of the cost is also a function of deepfakes. These translated videos facilitate wide-ranging social interactions and even create new business models. Coming to original deepfakes, technology is used to bring famous personalities back to life, thereby giving new educational experience to students. Just imagine positive deepfakes which bring Socrates, Plato, or even Julius Caesar back to life and viewing the videos of their philosophical or political renditions. Just imagine seeing and hearing war speeches of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj or Emperor Ashoka as if they were rendered in real time and in real life. Artificial intelligence and technology behind deepfakes can be used to generate original deepfakes of highly skilled teachers imparting education to children in the remotest part of the world in a scenario that is as realistic as it can get. These are original deepfakes that can become instruments of social change. Technology behind deepfakes is unfortunately used more in the negative spectrum rather than the positive. Fake revenge porn, fake political campaigns, and the like have become a global menace. In order to combat this menace, in about November 2023, 29 countries, including India, United States, Canada, Australia, China, and Germany, formed a coalition under the Beachley Declaration to establish a shared understanding of the risks and opportunities posed by frontier artificial intelligence. They decided to join hands to mitigate the threats arising out of the use of artificial intelligence in the negative spectrum, including negative deepfakes. With the governments of the world initiating series of measures to deal with concerns around artificial intelligence and deepfakes today, we talk about whether these measures are really enough. Are the laws equipped to deal with the ever-growing challenge that technology's misuse portrays? Are there any gaps that exist? Well, let's begin from where it all started. Let's understand when deepfakes came into being. One of the first academic works to address what would later be known as deepfakes is a paper presented at the Conference on Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition in 2016. At that point, nobody had predicted that the potential of a technology whereby one person, that is the source, could control the facial expression of another, that is the target in a video, by re-rendering the target video in a photorealistic manner can present. In fact, the origin of the word deepfakes is attributed to a Reddit user, Deepfakes, who published several videos in which faces of famous actresses were swapped with porn videos way back in 2017. Although India has a fairly robust regulatory mechanism for digital content on the internet, the law does not comprehensively and unfortunately deal with the problems that deepfakes pose in the ecosystem. The Information Technology Act penalizes identity theft, impersonation, violation of privacy, transmission of obscene materials, etc. in electronic form, with punishments extending up to 5 years of imprisonment and fines extending up to 10 lakhs of rupees. However, this has not been sufficient to stop the menace of negative deepfakes. The Supreme Court of India, in the celebrated case of Shreya Singhal, has clearly held that an internet intermediary is not obliged to proactively remove offending content on its platform unless it is notified to do so. In other words, the law in our country does not expect internet intermediaries to proactively monitor content, and rightly so. The Intermediary Guidelines Rules of 2021 mandates a social media intermediary to remove content that is violative of certain thresholds only upon a specific notice being received by such intermediary, either from the appropriate government agency or being notified of an order issued by a court of competent jurisdiction. Now, upon such a notice being issued to the intermediary should remove content as early as possible and at any event not later than 36 hours. Whilst these measures have greatly helped in controlling content that are obscene, pornographic, invasive of privacy, racially or ethnically objectionable, etc., they do not help with controlling the problems that deepfakes pose. Law has always lagged behind technology. Law has emerged much after technology, attempting to attribute liability for the misuse or abuse of such technology. But rarely has law been successful in controlling technology. Take for example, the invention of steam power led to the Boilers Act. Internal combustion engines and motor cars led to the Motor Vehicles Act. Use of electricity led to the Electricity Act. Use of telegraphy led to the Telegraph Act. More recently, invention of wireless transmission led to the Wireless Telegraphy Act. At all times, it was law attempting to catch up with technology and not the other way around. Why then do we expect law to find a solution to a technological problem called deepfakes? It is always prudent to find a technological solution to a technical problem. One of the best ways to control the misuse of artificial intelligence and deepfakes is to make it easy to identify deepfakes, so as to prevent misinformation and propaganda. The minute you make the identification process transparent, the misinformation and propaganda automatically vanish. If AI generated content and deepfakes are clearly tagged and are easily identifiable, the misinformation and the negative consequences of such artificial intelligence generated content can be easily controlled. For example, today, you know when you look at a screen on the internet that X is an advertisement but Y is general content. There is no confusion that advertorial content is really not promoted content or otherwise. The trouble is when you believe something that is false to be true. The trouble vanishes when a thing that is false is called out to be false and tagged to be false and fake. Upon such transparency, deepfakes lose their potential to cause mischief, and deepfakes tend to be used only in positive measure. An easier method is to add watermarks to artificial intelligence generated videos, essential for detection and attribution, thereby revealing the content origin and the ownership of that content, which easily acts as a deterrent against unauthorized use. Such watermarks also support accountability and also support enforcement of copyright. Intermediary platforms on the internet should be encouraged by a soft touch legislative approach to educate users about content policies and implement measures to deter inappropriate content upload. The Intermediary Guidelines Rules of 2021 in India is an attempt precisely to do this. The attempt in India should not also be to control technology through legislations, for it will kill the innovative ecosystem in the Indian digital markets. Law should enable innovation rather than scuttle it. Strengthening digital governance and legislation by promulgating clear laws defining and prohibiting malicious deepfake use and providing effective remedies and sanctions for victims and the perpetrators is the best way forward. Finally, encouraging media literacy and awareness will greatly help. Educating the public and the media about deepfakes, both the positives and the negatives, and providing skills and tools to verify and report suspicious content will lead to a promotion of ethical and responsible use of deepfakes and deepfake technology. The European Union has led the attempt to control misuse of deepfakes through its Digital Services Act, which obligates social media platforms to comply with certain labeling obligations, thereby enhancing transparency and helping internet users to determine the authenticity of the content consumed on the internet. Very large online platforms, for example, significant social media intermediaries and search engines in the European Union have been mandated to assess and mitigate specific risk of artificial intelligence. For example, by clearly labeling AI-generated content such as deepfakes as AI-generated content clearly. In 2023, in the Chinese Cyberspace Administration scenario, a mandate was issued that deepfakes must be clearly labeled in order to prevent public confusion. South Korea, for example, passed a law that makes it illegal to distribute deepfakes, with punishments extending up to 5 years of imprisonment and fines extending to thousands and thousands of dollars. In the United States of America, states such as Georgia, Hawaii, Texas, and Virginia have laws on their books that criminalize non-consensual deepfake porn. California and Illinois have given victims the right to sue those who create images using their likenesses. Minnesota and New York do both. Minnesota's law also targets using deepfakes in politics. India, in fact, is not alone in feeling the heat of the misuse of artificial intelligence and deepfakes. However, as an emerging economic superpower and as an ecosystem that fosters technical innovation, its legal response must be guarded so as to ensure that law does not scuttle technological innovation, but at the same time holds to account those who misuse technology.